You're supposed to create something that's going to make life better for the next generation. Your job is not just to live as a child. And so a lot of our men, encouraged by this false culture, this artificially contrived culture, are led to make horrifically economically irresponsible decisions, like the ones that I refer to in terms of dealing with the women or the sexual irresponsibility. All that spills back in. So if you ask a 5-year old, what do you do with money? A 5-year old is going to basically say, will basically say things like, I'm going to spend it on candy, I'm going to buy toys or shoes, stuff like that. So a lot of adults will do the same thing. Instead of spending their money on candy, they might spend their money on drugs or fancy restaurants. Instead of spending their money on toys or shoes, they might buy a new Lamborghini, or they might buy the $5,000 suit, right? So that economic immaturity, unfortunately, continues into adulthood because there is no catalyst, there is no point, there's no rite of passage that the young men have to go through to learn what economically mature and economically responsible decisions actually look like. And so, if you want to look at some things that money can be used for, I went through this exercise with my 5-year-old niece the other day, and I'm going to repeat myself with her for the next 30 years because I do not want her out here struggling. I do not want her out here sleeping with some raggedy man for money. I do not want her out here feeling that she's left out in the cold just because Uncle Boyce and her daddy did not prepare for her. We started preparing for her on the day she was born. We talked about her economic plan on the day she was born. And so here's some things that we went through when I said, here's some things that you can use money for. Well, number one, money can be used as a capital base. It's just a set of resources that you can have available that you can use to get what you need. So, for example, I was showing you all yesterday, I felt almost bad about this example because I feel like it's so extreme, no one's going to believe me. But I said, look, what if you bought 10,000 shares of Coinbase over a 20-year period for your kid and they sold options on their Coinbase? So we did the math and I said, okay, so how much are the options selling on Coinbase stock per week? It was like $6 and something per share, right? So I said, if you have 10,000 shares, that's what, $60,000. And so $60,000 a week is a lot of money. Like I think 50,000 a week is $2.5 million a year, right? And I wanted to take that example back because the example was so heavy, but it's real. I wasn't making the math up. I wasn't making any of that up. You can go right there on your app right now and see that you could sell stock options on that stock and literally make that level of money. Most people can't do that, but if you have a plan, it is possible. It's certainly possible. So money is a capital base. So capital bases can provide for you in a tough situation. Money can also be used for these things, and this is what I talked to my niece about specifically. It can be used to save. You can invest the money. You can give the money away. You can do philanthropy, so you can help other people with that money, right? So we went through all the things you can use money for because I asked her. I said, "What is money used for?" And she gave me the answer that a lot of kids would give me, which is, "I can buy stuff. I can buy candy. I can buy whatever." And I said, "Well, you can do more things with money." And so we talked about what it means to invest, what it means to give, to do charity, to do nice things for other people. We talked about what it means to save. I said, always want to save your money. You always want to save your money, right? So let me hop back in and finish this up. All right. So the next thing, and this next slide, I believe, relates more directly. Let's not go through the capital base because we already did that before. How money makes you a target. This is something that I think a lot of young men and women, especially, don't understand. They don't understand. Tupac Shakur, one of the biggest mistakes he ever made, in my opinion, was when he was so insistent that being famous was never going to change him. That was a huge mistake, in my opinion. Pac basically was a guy who said, "I'm going to keep it real all the time. I'm never going to change. I'm going to go to the same parties, be around the same people, and be the same guy." Even though a lot of wise people around him were saying, "You're not the same guy. You're the most famous rapper on the planet," which means that you have a lot of threats. You're in a hip hop music industry, which is incredibly toxic, very violent, lots of jealousy, lots of traumatized people that are looking to knock you off your perch. That's what Tupac. If Tupac were my son, that's what I say to him. I say, "Son, look, you can't do this, man. You have to, be connected to the people, but you got to keep enough of a safe distance so you can stay safe because the world needs you. You need that security. You need to think strategically about what situations you put yourself into." And so really, I would say that what Pac did not learn, in my opinion, is that having that much wealth and that much power really made him a target. And in fact, if you're ever around really rich people, you'll notice really rich people, those who are extremely wealthy, are very careful about who their friends are. a lot of major, if you talk about just normal celebrities that have, $100 million in the bank, they're not just gonna let their hair down in any situation with anybody. It takes time to build trust, and when the trust is violated, they push those people out of the circle. And sometimes they have to do that just to maintain their safety. Even my wife and I, we can't be cool with everybody. We can't tell everybody everything. In the minute we smell that a person is gonna somehow is somehow flipping out or acting weird, we talk about it. And I say, I don't really want to be too close to that because I don't know what we're going to get. I don't know what's going to happen next. So ultimately, people that end up having resources have to be careful about how they sort of move in the world, right? So protecting your wealth. Let me lay out some ways that money can make you a target, okay? Because everybody knows when the rich person walks into the room. So you can't sort of think you're just going to be like everybody else because you're not. What? Let me see here. Okay. Number one, lawyers always want to sue you. When lawyers file lawsuits, first thing they do is they look for any rich person that's connected to the event, and they find some reason to sue them. So for Kai Cenat, if he's suing this lady, chances are she's got lawyers in her ear saying, "Oh, he trafficked you. Oh, we can sue him for trafficking." It doesn't matter if there's evidence. It just matters that you can make the accusation, and then maybe he'll pay money to make the accusation go away. I don't know. Also, money makes you a target because your friends will bring dramatic sob stories to you. If you're the best person, how many of y'all know this feeling that you're the only financially responsible person in your family? You're the one who did well and made the right decisions. You got good credit. You have plenty of money in the bank. And then next thing you know, you've got a lot of people coming to you with their problems, with their financial problems. And I remember my father was so funny. He would get offended when people would come to him and ask him to co-sign for stuff because he would literally say, "How the f do you think that that I'm going to believe that if you don't even care about your own credit, that you're going to protect mine? You ain't even protected your own credit.